Depending on your experience and seniority, you probably have different feelings when asked to make an estimate. Even for the most experienced team members, making accurate estimates at the beginning of a project is a challenge. Estimates made closer to delivery are more accurate than those made at the early stages, as they are tailored based on feedback and lessons learned. Relative estimation is used to make future predictions based on past experience, knowledge, complexity, size, and uncertainty required to complete backlog items. A term that comes along with the relative estimation is story point. We can say a story point is a unit of measure that the team assigns to each story in the backlog. The more experienced the team is, the more precisely story points are awarded. Actually, there are 5 key areas that could affect the precision of the story points. First, we have knowledge, that is, how much information is at disposal to the team. Then there is the experience that we already mentioned. The question is if the team has previously worked on a similar item in the past. As for complexity, the team needs to think of whether the implementation is going to be completed or not. Story points are largely affected by the size of the stories. The points will vary depending on how big a story is. Uncertainty is the last area that plays a crucial role. A team discussion should go in the direction of what variables and unknown factors might impact the story. There are 2 most frequently used approaches for calculating relate sizes of the stories in the backlog. That is, for giving the story points to the backlog items, and those are planning poker and silent sizing. If you already have experience with planning poker and you find it take too much of your time and would like to assign points to the stories in a quick manner, consider playing the silent sizing. The team compares new stories to previously resolved stories and just determines if the new stories are of relatively similar sizes. As the first step, the product owner should prepare a stack of new user stories to be sized. Then set up a table, a whiteboard, a wall, or similar surface. Use some completed stories and assign them a sequence. A good practice is to use a Fibonacci scale. Then they place those user stories together with accompanying Fibonacci numbers on the working surface, so they are visible to the team. It's time for team members to take their turns. The first member silently reads new stories, compares them relatively with the completed stories, determines which are of similar sizes, and places them under the appropriate completed story. The rest of the team members review the stories one by one and are allowed to move them under some other completed stories if they think it's more appropriate. After everyone has had their silent turn, the team can discuss and negotiate sizes where needed. In the end, the product owner writes the points to the new cards. As you can see, sizing is a collaborative game with an accent on making a consensus. For that reason, it has a positive effect on a team. What else do you see as a benefit of the technique? Do you see how simple it is? Moreover, it's very adaptable and iteration after iteration, it becomes more and more accurate. How about the downsides? If a team does not have any experience with the story, that is, the new story does not have similarities with any of the stories the team has already worked on, the precision of the estimates might be low. The amount of work that a team can finish in one iteration, that is, the team's velocity, depends on how long the development team works together. If there is a fluctuation of team members, it can profoundly impact the estimates. And remember, there is no one-size-fits-all teams when it comes to story points, which can be very confusing for the stakeholders. With this, we have covered the relative estimation method. However, if you would like to get more details on the estimation technique, you can find additional clarifications in one of my previous courses, Business Analysis Techniques, Planning and Monitoring Business Analysis Work, here at Pluralsight.